So today we'll discuss about another application of linked list, which is dynamic management of memory, or what we say dynamic storage management. Initially, you'll have to know something which is the most common strategies that you actually have in storage management. So two strategies, which is static storage management and dynamic storage management. So static storage management will most probably done with the help of arrays. So we have to predefine the amount of memory, and that amount of memory will be pre-allocated before the original execution of the program, and you are not supposed to expand that particular allocated memory or shrink it during the runtime. So that is static storage management. Whereas when you talk about dynamic storage management, the amount of memory required or the memory allocation can happen while the program is under execution. Just like we have allocation, you can even deallocate memory while you are still under executing the program. So that is the difference between static storage management and dynamic storage management. So talking about dynamic storage management, we have two schemes for dynamic storage management. So this is the responsibility of the operating system to allocate and deallocate, and it will be done using the help of linked list. So we have discussed before, we have created a linked list of available memory spaces, and we call it as a memory pool or a memory bank. So the allocation and deallocation has to happen based on some principles, and it will be the responsibility of the operating system. So the principles that you have to follow while you are having a dynamic storage management is broadly divided into two strategies. First one is fixed block allocation, and the second one is variable block allocation. So when you talk about these two strategies, the fixed block allocation or fixed block storage management is having the fundamental principle that each of the nodes inside the memory bank, I repeat, each of the nodes inside the memory bank are of the same size. That is why it is known as fixed block. Okay, so each block or each node of the memory bank will be of same size. Whereas in the case of a variable block allocation, each node will have its own size. Okay, they may be equal or may not be equal, but there are variations in the sizes. Okay, so that is variable block allocation. So when you talk about variable block allocation, there will be many strategies to follow, like first fit, best fit, next fit, worst fit, etc. We'll talk about all that in detail during our discussion. So similarly, deallocation has also two strategies to follow. First one is random deallocation, whereas you take the deallocated block back into memory, keep it wherever you require. Ordered deallocation will follow some basic principles. So this deallocated block will be always added to either the first of the linked list, the memory bank, or to the end of the memory bank. Okay, so let's see some memory representations of fixed block, variable block, all that. So memory bank, as I said, it is a non-contiguous storage of available memory locations. Okay, so it is non-contiguous memory locations. Each of them will be connected together using pointers. They maintain the linear ordering. Okay, so the block size can be either fixed or variable. So you can see fixed. As I said, in fixed block allocation, you can see that each of the blocks are having equal sizes. Okay, each of the block is having equal size, and it will be fixed. So a veil is the header of memory bank. So the header that is going to represent the starting of memory bank is called a veil. Okay. So this is the pictorial representation. Let's see the get node and return node procedure when it is applied to a fixed block memory bank. So as I said, you have to remember that the block size is fixed. Each of the block is of the same size. Now in the get node procedure, what you're going to do, you're going to delete nodes when a particular program is going to request for a node. What you have to do, you have to check inside the memory bank whether there is any fixed block left. In that case, you can allocate that particular block to the requesting program and delete that node from the memory bank. So that is written inside this get node procedure. So initially you have to check whether avail is equal to null. If avail is equal to null, that means that there is no memory space left. Okay, no memory space left, so you cannot cater to the request. So you say that it's insufficient, you cannot be the request cannot be approved. Else, if avail is not null, then at least there is one fixed block remaining inside the memory bank. What you're going to do? You're going to allocate the first node of that particular list. Okay, so that is done here. What you have to do? You set a pointer called PTR that will be pointing to avail, where avail is pointing to the first available memory location. Okay, avail is a header and it is a pointer which is pointing to the first node of the linked list, the memory bank. Memory bank is implemented as a linked list. So PTR is set to point to the first node and avail moves from the first node to the second node, because you are going to free PTR or free the first node from the memory bank and it will be allocated to the requesting program. So in that case, what you are going to do? You are going to set PTR to point to the first node and avail will now point to the second node. So you can see in step number 2.2, avail is set to point to the next node, that is avail link. So avail is now with the second node. Now what you're going to do? You return PTR, which means PTR, that node is taken out of the memory bank and it is allocated to the program which has actually requested for memory. Okay, so when the program is requesting for more amount of memory, you will have to repeat this process for so many number of times. Okay, so that is about get node. Talking about deallocation, where you return a node which is deleted from some other program, you are returning it back to main memory, back to the memory block, memory bank. In that case, remember PTR is having the node address of the node that was just deleted. Okay, PTR is having the address of the node that was just deleted, and you are calling the return node procedure with PTR as the argument. So you have the node which has been deleted, the address of it is available with PTR and that is passed to this particular procedure. So what is going to happen? Avail is there, you have a memory bank already, so you ask a pointer called PTR1 to travel through this memory bank till the last node of the memory bank. Okay, so PTR1 starts from avail and it is advanced until you reach a point where the link field is null. Okay, where the link field is null, which means you are now, PTR1 is now at the last node of the memory bank. Now what you have to do? You have to set the null pointer, you have to replace the null pointer of PTR1 to point to the newly created or the newly added node, the deleted node, which is PTR. Okay, so PTR1 is set to point to PTR and PTR link field of PTR is set to null because this is now the last node of memory bank. Okay, so this is how return node procedure works. Just like we inserted a new node at the end of a normal simply linked list, you are doing the same procedure here in the case of fixed block. Now moving on to variable block, here you have to take into consideration both whether the memory bank is having a memory, having some free space, and also whether there is a node that can satisfy the requesting amount of memory by the requesting program. Okay, so there are two things to be considered. First thing, whether there is a free space. Second one, whether there is a node, whether there is a free space that can cater to the request which was made by the program. Okay, so that is why we have got a little more bigger algorithm here. So here initially when avail is equal to null, you have to say that you cannot cater to the request and you will exit from the process. Else you have some nodes which are available inside the memory bank. You are going to find out that node which can cater to the requested amount of memory from the program. Okay, so that is why in step number 4 you are going to travel through the memory bank until a particular position. Either you have reached the requested amount of memory, either you have reached a node which has the requested amount of memory, or you have gone to the end of the linked list. Okay, so that is why it is written while ptr link not equal to null and ptr size is less than size of node, where node is the requested amount of memory that was actually made by the user. Okay, so what you do, you advance ptr and ptr1, so that ptr1 will always be one step behind ptr. Okay, so you can come out of this while loop at step number 4 either because ptr link is equal to null or because ptr size is equal to size of node. Okay, so if the first one was the case where ptr link is equal to null, in that case what does that mean? You have traversed through the list but couldn't find out a proper node that could cater to the request. Okay, suppose the request was for 50 kilobytes, you have traversed through the linked list, you couldn't find a node which was of size 50 kilobytes. In that case, what you're going to do, you will traverse till the end and you say that the requested memory was too high and we cannot cater to the request. Okay, else you would have come out of the while loop at step number 4 because ptr size is equal to or greater than size of node. Okay, there are two chances. Either the size of ptr is greater or equal to the size of the node. In that case, you have to allocate that node to the requesting program. Okay, so you have to allocate that node to the requesting program, which means you are going to delete a node from a particular position in the memory bank. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to keep the memory bank intact. In that case, you have PTR pointing to the node to be deleted from the memory bank and allocated to the program. PTR1 is pointing to the previous node. So you have to set the link of PTR1 to point to the next node of PTR, which means the link address available with PTR. Okay, so at step number 7.1, you can see PTR1's link field is set to copy to the address of PTR link, which means PTR1 is now pointing to the next node of PTR. Okay, so that's done. The linked list, the memory bank is set to be connected. Okay, so there is no disconnections. What you have to do, you have to take PTR out of the memory bank, which means you are going to return the address of PTR back to the requesting program, which means that node was allocated. Okay, so this is in the case of get node. When you talk about return node, here you can see your mission is to return a deallocated node back to memory bank. Okay, you no longer need that node, so you are deallocating it. What you have to do, you have to traverse through this PTR, through the memory bank, find out a suitable position where you can fix this node. Okay, this is based on size. Okay, so normally we take it as the nodes will be arranged in the ascending order of their sizes. So that is why we are taking this one here. So what you are going to do, while PTR1 size, PTR1 is the traversing variable of memory bank. PTR is the node that was just deleted or deallocated. Okay, so PTR1 size, you are going to compare between these two. Whenever PTR1 size is lesser than that of PTR size, you are going to traverse through the list. Okay, so either come out because you have reached the end of the list, or you come out because you have found the space where PTR1's size is greater than that of PTR. Okay, so you have set up a second pointer PTR2 which will be pointing to the previous node, and PTR1 will be the traversing variable. PTR is the node that was just deallocated. So you have three pointers. Now at the end of this, you have PTR2, PTR and PTR1. What you are going to do, PTR2 will be pointing to PTR and PTR will be pointing to PTR1, thus creating the memory bank complete. Okay, so this is about the return node procedure in the case of variable block. So this is it. This is a pictorial representation, okay, of variable block. So even though you see that each of the nodes are looking alike, but it's not so. Each of the node will be having variable sizes, okay. Then the fixed block scheme, the problem with fixed block scheme is that the process or the program will have to make multiple requests to get the amount of memory that could cater its need. Okay, so that because of that reason, we prefer to have variable block scheme other than fixed block scheme. Okay. So in the initial case, when you have no process under execution, the whole lot of memory, we talk about main memory here. So the whole lot of memory will be free. So initially memory bank will be one big node. Okay, it will have just one big node. Okay, and Avail will be pointing to that single unit of node. Okay, whenever programs come in and you allocate memory for them, what happens is this will be broken. This nodes will be broken. There will be nodes which then the actual linked list comes into existence. So I'll show this. So initially the total memory is taken as a single block that is returning A, but later the whole lot of memory was given to 5 different programs. Not necessary that each of them are given exactly equal partitions. It may be varying based on their request. So the entire memory was now allocated for 5 different programs P1 to P5. So let's see this. Okay. So after some point, okay, P2 has stopped execution and has deallocated. Both P2 and P5 have deallocated. So you can see that P1 is still holding memory, P3 is still holding memory, P4 is still holding memory, which means P2, the memory space allocated for P2 and the memory space allocated for P5 are now free. So Avail will be containing two nodes, P2, the one which was allocated for P2 and the other one which was allocated for P5, and they will be connected using pointers. After some time, this first node of the list, which is first node of the memory bank, is now allocated to a separate program which is called P6. Now our memory bank is having just one node, which is the node that was deallocated by P5. Okay. In the next step, P1 and P4 have deallocated their memory. So now what you can see, P4 and P5, okay, P4 and P5, they were actually two blocks of memory which were allocated to different programs, but now they have deallocated it, which means you got some consecutive amount of memory. So that can be put together as one single node. Okay, so you can see at the end of this, that particular node, that particular memory has become one single unit. Okay, the memory space allocated for deallocated by P1 was now taken by P7, and now you can see that Avail or memory bank is having one single unit of memory, which is the combination of the memory deallocated by P4 and memory deallocated by P5. So this process keeps on repeating until you finally shut down your system and if there are no processes executing inside the system. You will have this deallocation and allocation happening inside the memory, and this whole process will be taken care of by operating system. So about the first fit, next fit, worst fit and best fit, we'll discuss in the next video. So that's all for today. Thank you.